Here I am.
There you are. It took a minute to get everything plugged in and streaming accordingly. But we're on. And worst case
Good morning.
scenario, worst case scenario, we have a recording of it and we can rebroadcast it another time. But anyway, wanted to just make a quick introduction. I had talked with Victoria about helping me to set up my daily ritual. Something I know is important to kind of supercharge your morning and get your day started on a good foot. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I was reading some stuff and I was like, hey, maybe Victoria could help me out. So she said yes, and let's do it live. I said, okay, let's get it done. So I'll pass it off to you, Victoria, in terms of introducing what we're going to be doing and yourself, and we'll see where this takes us.
Hey everyone, good morning. I'm Victoria Haffer. I have been in the transformation empowerment world for over 20 years, really. I've had an obsession with the human mind, body, and soul. And so I teach other people how to live their most amazing life. And one of the tools or aspects of my life that I found that has been super powerful in supporting me in my success through my healing, and especially during these times of uncertainty, is my daily routine, my daily ritual. And so I have supported hundreds and maybe even thousands of individuals in creating a personalized morning ritual. So it doesn't
Awesome.
have to be, cookie cutter. There's certain aspects that are very similar. However, I work with everybody's own individual needs and situations, depending on the time that you have, and do you have children, and anyways, your schedule. So I was super excited when Josh asked me to do this live, because it is something that's near and dear to my heart. And like I said, it's something you can do, that you can choose to do. And once you choose to do it on a daily basis, really, you will see the benefits of it for you, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to make the choice, then I want to be sure that there's some structure around it. Being a business consultant and also starting to explore some aspects of my spirituality and being better connected with the universe and the earth as a whole. Obviously, some people call it serendipity, some people call it coincidence, but I have been finding that it's more about being in the flow and divine alignment. So those things started to make more sense to me, and I said, okay, well, how can I encourage this to happen more frequently in my life? So let's dig right in terms of morning ritual and how do we start, Victoria? Like where do we begin? Should I share kind of where I'm at today and what I'm doing, or would you like to have a different format or different structure to building this thing for me?
Yeah, I mean, we can go through. So the first step is obviously to choose it, right? So choose,
Mm-hmm.
have some awareness around what's happening for you in the morning. And everybody's a little different. Some people may already have a structured morning routine, but however, perhaps we could tweak it a little bit. So there may be
Mm-hmm.
some things. So you may already be doing some of these things already. And so that's great. That's one less thing that we have to add in.
Mm-hmm.
However, we definitely want to take a look at your reason. What is
Okay.
the underlying core reason for being inquisitive about setting a morning routine? And I think you had said the word structure came up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes what we found is that what we do in that first hour upon awakening actually has a true reflection of how the rest of our entire day goes. So are you waking up, hitting the snooze button 3 times, and then, kind of rushing around, barely having enough time to get a shower, and, scrolling on the phone, and then, are you watching the morning news? So it's kind of like energetically what's happening, and then grabbing a cup of coffee, and that's pretty much all you have time for, versus Do you have more time, or do you have more time in the morning? And are you finding that you're doing things like scrolling endlessly on your phone, um, just doing things that aren't super productive? So tell me a little bit
Okay.
about your morning and how that
Yeah.
looks now.
Sure, absolutely. So I typically get up around 6:30 or 7 a.m. pretty consistently. I just wake up actually without an alarm. Usually I'm having a cup of water with a full lemon to help kind of rebalance the pH in my body and can get a kickstart and then I make some French press coffee. And while that's kind of getting prepared and I'm drinking some water, usually I'm on my phone and I'm checking either emails. It's a blend of it's a 60/40 70/30 blend of business and pleasure. So the 30% more business, checking emails, looking at my schedule, seeing what's going on for the day, and then 70% YouTube videos, looking at other interests that I have. And then I typically will blend in about 15 minutes of reading in the morning. So I have some books here by my area in the morning, and then I usually will grab a book and take 15 minutes before I get off to the first event of the day, which can start somewhere between 8:30 and 9:30 a.m.
So on average, how much time from beginning to end every morning does that look like? So you said you get up around 6:30-ish.
Yeah,
So
so it's
then
about an
you're,
hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on
yeah,
when
so
the
that's
first.
great. I mean, so the time for you is clearly not the problem. A lot of
Nope.
times, the first thing that comes up is they're like, I just don't have the time. There's not enough time in the day, right? So that's great. So great, you have the time. It's just, let's see how you can be a little bit more efficient. So if you're starting to already do work before you've set the tone or set any targets for the day, then
Mhm.
again, you're just kind of it's just like throwing shit on the wall, right? You're just like, oh, okay, well, I'll do this, I'll do that, and you're kind of letting the morning pull you in different directions instead of you having some kind of a focus, for the routine. So let's talk a little bit about, and again, the good news again is that you have this time. You have the
Right.
time, right? An
Because
hour and a half is
if I
great.
didn't have that, time, then the first step would have to be like, okay, I need to make sure that I give myself the time. I need to choose the time to do it, which it's already there. It's just not being like run really well. So if somebody doesn't have the time in the
Yeah.
morning, then you would just get up earlier and make more time, right? I mean, that's how you do it. You just get up a
That's,
little
yeah,
early.
you have to choose. Yeah, yeah, that's so true.
Okay,
So
cool.
the first aspect, so I've written an ebook, and what I'm going to have an offer at the end of the call, but I'm going to extend a free code so that people can have the ebook to help them, for
Okay.
anybody who's watched our show today, live or recorded. So you don't have to take notes if you don't want to, but there are basically 7 key components to the morning ritual that
Okay.
I work with when I play and explore with my clients and my students. And
Mhm.
the first thing that I do, and this is something obviously that we all can do, literally before I even get out of bed, I'm not even sure if my eyes are open. Maybe they are. I'm not much of a morning person, is to invite in source energy. So whatever that is to you, whatever name you give God, God, Goddess, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, universal life force energy, right? Whatever name you
Mhm.
give God, I literally make a connection with source when I first wake up in the morning. So,
Okay.
it's really a sweet spot because again, we're in that space of just starting to wake up, and so your subconscious is really powerful at this time, and often we can start to roll into some of the negative self-talk like right when we wake up. So it's really important to just kind of create this new habit of doing that. First thing you wake up, you open your eyes and you say, I invite in, right? The
Okay.
divine source, however that looks for you.
Is
And
there an
then
intention? Is there intention behind that in terms of like why am I inviting, or is it just
well, the
invite
thing
in as
is, universal life force energy is, it's pure love, it's pure light, it's pure neutrality, it's all of these things. So, and then to answer your question, the next phase, and again, it's real quick, it takes all of about 10 seconds, is I invite my higher self, my divine self, my authentic self, the part of
Mhm.
me that is all loving, all knowing, and non-judging, to run the show for the day. Because
Mm.
often, we have we're dealing with our inner critic, our inner judge, inner child. There's all different aspects of us that actually will pop up, especially if you're getting triggered a lot throughout the day. And so if you invite in that part of you that is pure energy, pure light, pure knowing, to run the show, then you can kind of, your body as a vessel, you can perhaps make better choices for yourself.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
how,
basically it's like you're saying, hey, I am open to my intention or my intuition really to guide me in my decision making and things that I'm doing. What am I responding to? How am I reacting? So you're
yes,
really setting the stage for that intuition to kind of take over, which is going to benefit you the most, and bring you the most ease throughout the day. It's gonna
yes.
remove distractions just innately. That's what it does. Obstacles and distractions kind of part the seas, as they would say. Okay, great. So that's number one.
Yeah, I
Okay,
love
that's
that.
easy enough.
I love
Great.
that. And then I've created, again, and this is can be personalized for everybody, but I state a mantra slash affirmation slash sankalpa. There's different names depending on the traditions that you look at. That is a very positive energy, and kind of like it creates an anchor when you're getting pulled off your center, right? And so accessconsciousness.com is a resource that I would recommend for people who are looking to create infinite possibilities in their life. But their mantra is, all life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. All life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. So you say whatever your affirmation is, and it's an I, you want it to be a positive, in the moment statement, not like I'm hoping to, I will. It's like, it's happening now. You
Okay.
know,
So let me share what I'm using now is I am fierce when I'm focused. That's kind of what I have on my board right over here.
I
So
love it. That's
is that good? Is
powerful.
that something
That
I could use?
that totally works. It's
Okay.
very, you want it to be short, succinct, to the point, and period. I am
Okay.
fierce when I'm, so it could even be, I am focused, I am fierce. I am
I like
focused,
that.
I am fierce. I am
Okay.
focused. And so you want to say it at least 10 times. So
10
that
times.
becomes your mantra. And then you'll notice, like, throughout the day, if you're not focused,
Hmm.
right? Then you're like, huh, and you want to remember that mantra, because the more repetitive you say words are powerful,
Of
right?
course. That's
Words
why
have,
they call it spelling, it's like magic. It's like I'm casting a spell. I'm spelling. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
perfect. I was just thinking that same thing. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So understand that you create your reality through your thoughts, your words, your actions, your energy.
Hmm.
And so when you have the awareness that you're getting off track, or you're getting pulled off track, or bright shiny object syndrome, and something's over here but it's not really in alignment with what's going to create your target or your goals for the day, you pull up your mantra. So I say it in the morning, but I say it multiple times throughout the day. All
Okay.
life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. When you're in that space of noticing that, you're in that place of like, shit, life is hard. Whoa, what was that? Well, if you believe life is hard, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, sure.
So just
Hmm.
noticing that your mind talk and your mindset and the thoughts that you're feeding your soul with, and that when they're off track and when they're not true, is is life hard? Does life have to be hard, or is that something that you bought as a story from, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your teachers, when you were a little girl or a little boy?
Yeah. So great. That's a good example of how of how a mantra or affirmation can work kind of sneakily, where we don't even realize that it's working, but we're saying these things to ourselves, and then all of a sudden that becomes the reality. So you're saying, don't even get there yet. Before you even getting out of bed, connect to your higher self, connect to source, find your mantra, say it in your head. Even you don't even have to say it out loud, right? Can you say it in your head? Is that
Yeah, you
okay?
can absolutely say it in your head, especially if you have a
Okay.
partner and they're still sleeping.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
good.
but the words can be very powerful as well to say out loud. But I literally do say it in my head. So that's before you even get out of bed, right? So
Got it.
that sets the tone. And then the next piece is movement.
Okay.
So I have no attachment to the order of these things. So I encourage my students and my clients to, write down the pieces and then play with it. Just give yourself permission to explore what is right for
Okay.
you.
I'm gonna say something right now, because if there's too much, again, this specific for me and not for everybody, but like
Hmm.
I'm really looking for structure. So when I'm given the instruction of, well, just go ahead and be free and play with it, like that basically says that I'm not going to do this, because I'm like, well, maybe I want to do that, or maybe I want to do this, or
Okay,
so if we
sure.
can tighten it up just for me,
Yeah,
that would be great.
great.
So I would imagine after this that I'm going to kind of make my way out of the bed area and kind of come downstairs. So I mean, does it make sense for the next thing for me specifically? Can I do that lemon water? Is that like a good next step to like get hydrated so I can get the body prepared for movement? Or do you
Yeah,
think I can get
I'm
right
going to
into
tap
movement?
into, so I'm going to tap into intuition and tap into, I'm often called a soul whisperer. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
actually able to tap into your higher self and channel your own divine wisdom. And your soul literally tells me, this is what Josh needs. So I'm going to actually say that a few sips of water is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but I would wait for the lemon water until after the movement.
Okay.
Yeah, so movement is, so depending on the amount of time. So we have decided you have at least 90 minutes. So for you, for 90 minutes, if you have 90 minutes, I'm going to recommend at least 30 minutes of movement.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, movement, movement, movement. Now, it's very important that it's a conscious kind of a movement. So a lot of
Yeah.
times people say, "Oh, I get that down. I get up, I go to the gym, I hit, I have a fitness center in my garage, and they hit it." And maybe they listen to music, or maybe they're listening to a podcast, or they're watching the news. They're on their treadmill and they're watching the news or something. So I'm gonna recommend that this is a time where you are listening to your body. So
Okay.
this is about enhancing and building a loving, supportive relationship with your body, because your body always knows.
Mm.
Your body holds all the wisdom, and often we're moving a million miles an hour that we just don't pay attention to what the body needs, whether it be you've got food sensitivities, or you're dealing with chronic fatigue or leaky gut or Hashimoto's, or um, chronic mental health stuff, where you battle a little bit with like anxiety and depression and all of it. The body holds all the wisdom. And so this is like your time, your quality time with your body, so that you can listen to your body. Now, it doesn't mean you can't play some mindful music or some creative frequencies, solfeggio frequencies on YouTube, or if you want to follow me on Spotify, I have a whole bunch of really great playlists under my name. And so that's fine. Music, if you want to work with silence, if that speaks to you as well, that's fine too. So the movement piece can be, it can be fitness, but again, you're doing it being present with your body. So for example, I do, it's a combination of yoga and dance
Mhm.
and core. I do a lot of core work. It really hits like, for anyone who's familiar with the chakras or the vortexes, the energy centers, the core, second, third chakra. Third chakra is your power center. So, where you're feeling like you're not being able to step into your power in any aspect of your life, then the core work will really help a lot, and in the belly center of that.
Okay, yeah. So I'll probably do a combination of some qigong stretches that I'm familiar with, and then some yoga. And maybe, I mean, would it be okay to take like the dog for a walk for like 10 minutes? Is that something that would be,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point as well. When you are, getting yourself out, and I love that because nature, when you combine your movement with nature, that's always a bonus. So to get, step away from electronics and get away from the Wi-Fi as best as you can and be in
Mhm.
a place of mindfulness, mindful walking. That's another thing. And then being super present, if you do happen to have a dog, um, and you walk your dog, and are you able to be present with them as opposed to, are you scrolling on your phone, or
Okay.
are you listening to something else? So absolutely, I love that. And I love that you said qigong, tai chi, qigong. And for those of you who are like, I have no idea what any of those things are, if you're
Use
open to
YouTube,
it,
man. YouTube is the best resource. If you don't
YouTube
know, you just
rocks.
type in qigong warm-up exercises or tai chi warm-up exercises. They're super gentle, they're very easy to do. You probably won't even break a sweat, but the benefit is that you get to move every joint in your body, and you get to warm up the entire body from head to toe, which can be a good way to loosen.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is that, people say as they get older, I hear people in their, I'm 55 years old. So I hear people say in their 50s that, I have all these aches and pains and all this illness and disease starts to set in. However, research has actually proven that, yes, we do get older and things change. But the biggest factor in aging is are the lifestyle choices that you're making on a daily basis. And you know what? If you don't use it, you lose it. So think
Right.
about that for your body. Maybe when you're younger, you're an athlete, you played on, a sports team, and now you're lucky, if you get out and walk the dog. So you have to keep in mind that this body that we have, you can't go to the local person dealership and trade it in for a new model, right?
Not
So
yet, not yet anyway.
not yet, not yet. We're working on that. But for
Yeah.
now, it's like having respect for your body. Bodies are made to move, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also have a video for those of you who do want to do more of a fitness kind of a movement, so that, like Josh was saying, like it's really important that you move your body because we're so linear.
Mhm.
You might say, oh, I've done, 10,000 steps on my Fitbit. Great. But you are moving linear most likely. You're moving forward and your body is only moving in this space. So ideally, there's an epidemic of chronic low back pain out there. As an exercise physiologist and personal trainer in my past life, I'm very aware of the importance of moving all of the joints, especially the spine, to keep, the spine not only connects from, the root all the way up into, the skull, but it also stores our central nervous system, and energetically it is the gateway, but where the energy vortexes, our chakras actually move through.
Mhm.
So think about posture. Think about how so many of us are sitting for so long throughout the day, and not moving the body. And so if you don't have 30 minutes in the morning, the absolute minimal is 15 minutes. And I do
Okay.
suggest that you do create a little bit of a light sweat so that you are able to just kind of detoxify at that point. But if you absolutely had to split it up, you could do 15 minutes in the morning and then maybe 15 minutes later in the afternoon.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So we got that covered. So movement, and you exaggerated on some of the points why it's important, obviously. And if there's more, there's a ton more content. Maybe what we can do is after this, we can put in a comment underneath the video after it's been posted, and we can add in those resources so people can find those YouTube videos that we're recommending, and some of the other components to help people get jump started into finding some things that really resonate, because I think that's probably going to be the big thing for me, and why I chose the things that I chose, because I know I'm going to enjoy that. I know I'm going to enjoy the qigong and the little bit of yoga and walking the dog. Like I'm going to find fulfillment in that. So that's going to be easy for me to make that choice. versus like if you were like, well, I want to do 50 push-ups and 1,000 sit-ups, and then I'm going to do jumping jacks for 15 minutes. Like, no, that's not what I want to do. No, not going to
That's
do
not
that.
that's not
Maybe I'll
what you
do it
want to
one
do.
time and then I'll realize that I don't want to do it again. So anyway, so good. I'm
That's
confident in
right.
that. So what's the next thing then? We
That's
got
right.
movement.
So the
Now
next
can I
piece,
have my lemon water? Now can I have my
yeah,
lemon water?
yes, you can have your lemon water now. Actually, that would be
Okay.
great. So that would be a good time to, and again, you had mentioned earlier, but lemon or lime is actually great. So by adding it to your water, lemon or
Mhm.
lime is actually it assists in bringing our pH back to alkaline,
Alkaline. Yeah. Okay.
mild. You don't want it to be too alkaline, but alkalinity. What we have found is that I would say 99.9%. I don't like to always say all, but most all disease it breeds and
Mhm.
grows in an acidic environment, specifically cancer, things
Okay.
like that. So we
Okay.
know that foods, coffee, very very acidic, chocolate. Um, uh, Processed foods, things like that. So diet
Sure.
does play a huge role. So the next step would be to stretch the mind. So
Okay.
getting expansive. This is where you want to get into a place of doing things different. Dr. Joe, for those of you who follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's one of my teachers and he's amazing. He's got a whole, every one of his books are phenomenal if you're looking to change your mind, right? Because what
Mhm.
we found is that habit, the patterns that we've cultivate start with often with the thoughts. So the thoughts, and then we do the same thing. The body has been trained to automatically get up every morning and go to the couch and scroll through, your phone. That's
Mhm.
so the body, it's almost like an addiction, right?
Yeah,
So you just
I can verify that because basically what happens is I get up and my brain literally says go get the phone. It's like I go and I make the coffee and then all of a sudden it's like you go get the phone and then you sit down and then
Mhm,
who
mhm.
knows where it's going to go from there, but usually you end up somewhere watching something or blowing time. So it happens
So
really
so
quickly and it feels good. That's the weird part, is that it feels good to do
because it's
that.
comfortable because
Yeah.
it's comfortable and it's what you know. And so
Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up again. So the really big awareness that you're having is that once I touch my phone, the morning takes me away. So
Yes.
it's going to be really important that you set your intention that you don't touch your phone until
Okay.
you have done XYZ. That's the deal that you have to make with yourself, right?
Sure.
So so we literally need to, the technical term is called neuroplasticity, where in the day when I was a kid, we used to think that if a brain cell died off, you were all done. So
Mhm.
all the alcohol and all the pot or whatever, anything that you were exploring with maybe some drugs, we thought, oh shit, I'm screwed, right? Like I'm done. So I'm killing off brain cells. But now they found the good news is that we can regrow new brain cells. And again, it's called neuroplasticity. And so
Mhm.
that's why it's so important to do mix things up and do things differently, right? And move your body and all of this stuff until you create a new habit. And they've actually found that, you'll hear people say, oh, 30 days to a new habit. And that
Mhm.
it's 30 to 40 days to start to create a new habit, but it's truly 90 days before you've cultivated and it's set
Great.
in. Yeah.
Great.
So
I'll take one day. Let's do one
I'll take
day
one
and
day
then
at a
we'll,
time. And again,
yeah.
right. So we're going to stay present moment. However, going back to the mind, it's really realizing what role your mind plays in your life. And so
Okay.
this is sort of like earlier we were saying you're going to spend 30 minutes with your body, right? So this is
Mhm.
like you're going to build a loving, supportive, trusting relationship with your body by no every day you're going to give it love by moving it and
Mhm.
doing it in a conscious, loving way. Now we're going to do the same thing with the mind. So we're
Okay.
going to take that space of, again, ideally, 30 minutes is ideal, but for those of you who have never done any kind of mind um, rituals, exercises, we could call it meditation, but sometimes people go, oh, meditation,
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
the elephant in the room. Again, so much science. We know that meditation heals, it
Mhm.
heals people, all of it, mind, body, soul stuff. But let's just take it as that you're sitting with what is, and you don't have to sit. A lot of times people think, oh, I have to cross my legs, sit, and then, chant Om and light
Mhm.
incense, and, all of this. People have kind of, they've put a stigma on it of what meditation looks like, and it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
But it is about getting present. It is about getting present. It is about being aware of the mental chatter in the vritti, as we call it in the yoga world, and getting it to just calm down because you're paying attention to it. Pay attention to it, acknowledge it, and then decide what you're going to do with it. So, is it negative self-talk? Is it true?
Mhm.
The thing is, we move so quickly that this stuff is actually happening, and we're not even conscious of the language or the information that's coming in our mind. So
Okay.
my favorite type of meditation, I do a lot of different ones. I actually vary, but mantra for the morning for me is very fluid for me. So it's basically working with very specific mantras that will assist in whatever your specific goals are. Like, there's different mantras on opening your heart center, or removing obstacles, or
Okay.
getting in touch with, maybe you're dealing with a healing issue. So literally any major challenge that you're having, there's mantras for abundance and wealth. So you kind of just say, well, what's the thing that I really want to laser focus on and
Mhm.
change or transmute? And then you can use a mantra with that. Now, if that doesn't speak to you at all, mantra, there's guided meditation, which I love. So Dr.
Okay.
Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins.
Okay.
I know,
Got
Tony Robbins has a guided meditation, and it's
Yeah, I
about
think I have it.
finding.
Yeah, I think I have it. It's a gratitude meditation. I think it's
Yeah,
like 12 or 14 minutes or something like that. So I
yeah,
think that would be
that's
easy.
great.
Again, I'm looking for something easy that's already kind of in my wheelhouse that I know and understand. But if I didn't have that, I would just go to YouTube and say, type in 15-minute meditation, 20-minute meditation, and then
And
go
be
explore a few,
specific,
right?
right? And be specific. You could even put in like morning meditation and see what
Okay.
pops up. There's people. So I have a YouTube channel, my name, Victoria Haffer, and I would encourage everyone to subscribe to it. And there's a lot of really great videos in there. I do a lot of guided meditations. There's one in particular called Creating Infinite Possibilities. So it really teaches us how to get expansive and get grounded at the same time, so
Mhm.
that you can get out of your get out of the logical part of the brain and shift more into the creative and more, you know just expansive part of the brain, because the logical part, we need it, but often that runs the show for people, and then you're
Yeah.
like in that space all day long. And so really a combination of right left brain is super helpful, and meditation can help people to do that as
Okay,
well.
great. So right now we're looking at about 45 minutes between getting up, getting some movement done, drinking some lemon water, and then doing a guided meditation. So we're at 45 minutes. So that leaves us
Cool.
with a
Great.
little
So now
45
once
more,
you
right?
so you do the guided meditation, and in that space you're going to
Mhm.
find that you're going to, when you do it, it could be the first time you do it, it may be a few times that you need to do it, but eventually you're going to get into a space where your brain and your head feels lighter. Like, I
Okay.
remember a client saying to me, like, wow, this is the first time I've ever not had any thoughts in my head, because she was so expansive, she was so light. And when we're
Mhm.
in that state, that's where we are most creative. That's
Okay.
where we are most open to receptivity. And that's why, so at that point, I would recommend that you have a notebook.
Mhm.
Um, a notebook, some of us call it a journal. Uh, dedicated specifically to your transformation, to
Okay.
your day, you know? And so at this point, now you want to just go into and say, what what are and I say three things. It can be one thing, it can be eight things, but you know, we'll go with the three because I know you like the structure. So three things that
Hmm.
if I gave attention to these three things today would transform my life. What are the three
Okay.
things that I need to do, be, or receive today that if I were to give attention to them would open up
All
things
right. So
for
give me
me?
an example. Give me an example of what one of those things may be.
Um, it could that your body might just say uh, you're drinking too much coffee. Like you that it may just it's just going to come up. Everybody
Okay.
receives and perceives information
All right. So
differently.
this is, yeah. So this is, what do they call it? It's kind of like stream of consciousness writing, where you're not really like thinking about it. You're really just like, you're just asking the question, and then whatever comes, the first things that come to mind, like you're just going to write those things down. It's
I
like,
love it.
and you ask, so basically I'm going to be, after that meditation, I'm going to grab a journal, then I'm going to ask myself the question, where are three areas that I can apply my attention today that will do what? What is it?
That will,
That will,
if I paid attention to them, will open up a whole new possibility for me.
okay.
You know, it's like I'll ask people, you know, blah blah blah, and then they say, I don't know. Well, the truth
Yeah,
is,
of course.
we always know, but
That's
it's
just a
easy for us.
block though. That's just a block. It's like the I
It,
don't know is like, it's more like I don't want to answer.
yeah, yeah, or
Because
it's
you're not gonna
uncomfortable,
allow it
or
to, yeah, or it's
or
uncomfortable. Yeah.
or I'm not ready to go there yet.
Right.
Like
Okay.
I know that quote unquote that I'm eating too much sugar, refined sugar, or I'm drinking too much coffee,
Mhm.
or you know, I'm not meditating. I'm not taking time for me. I'm not, you know, my receiving channels are kind of broken, you know, at
Yeah.
this time. So it's like the thing is, when you're able to be in relationship with your mind, it doesn't have to be something that is, uh, you know, the devil. It doesn't have to be that the monster, the demon that people say, you know, they talk about like their ego. When you choose to have tea with those parts of you that are giving you quote unquote a hard time, you'll notice that they're not giving you a hard time. They're actually trying to get your attention.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we got that. So that'll probably
Yeah.
take, 5 or 10 minutes. So now we're looking at, I'm an hour in. So I got 30 minutes left. What's
Yep.
next?
So gratitude, everybody knows about gratitude, right? People know, oh yeah, be grateful. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's like this thing, yeah, I'm grateful, right? And you know, then the exercise I hear people say, oh yeah, I write down three things I'm grateful for. Okay, great. And then you shut your notebook and then you don't think about those things at all. So
Hmm.
my invitation to you
Hmm.
is to be the gratitude.
All right. What does that mean?
Be the gratitude. So the thing is, like Tony Robbins says, you know, you can't be grateful and angry at the same time. You can't be grateful and irritated, annoyed, and frustrated at the same time. You can't be grateful and then wish things were different at the same time.
Hmm.
You just can't in that split second. So, what if you could be grateful for everything? Now, I'm not saying that you're not setting targets for the future. You know, maybe you want a bigger house, maybe you want a different car, maybe, you know, you want to lose 20 pounds.
Hmm.
But in this space of, even though I might be quote unquote 20 pounds overweight, can you still be grateful for this body that you have? So flipping grateful, right? For your
Okay.
arms and your legs, and they, you know, that they move you from here to there, and that you can hear and you can see things and that you can smell things. Like it's often we tend to wish we had the things we had when they're gone. You know, I was chatting
Okay.
with a girlfriend the other day about how so many women tend to have really poor self-images of themselves, and we always think we're unattractive and something's too big and something's not, you know, too small. And we were joking about how we would look at pictures of ourselves when we were younger and how at the time we thought we were fat, and now we look
Hmm.
at them and we go, holy crap, I wish I looked like that now. So again, it's just being in that space of being in the wonder of how many things that we take for granted throughout the day. Like, for
Okay.
example, just walking into a supermarket, right? And being able to, so this is something that not only do you do it in the morning, but it's something that you would take with you throughout the day. So
Okay.
being gratitude, anytime you notice that you want to go to that place of complaining or wishing things were different than what they are, shift into this space of gratitude. What am I grateful for in this moment?
Okay. So basically that looks like it's kind of like another meditation type thing where I'm going to sit and think about things that I'm grateful for from a simplicity perspective, from like a 2-year-old beginner's mind perspective
Mm,
versus a adult perspective, whatever. I'm grateful for, my vehicle, or I'm grateful for my job, or I'm grateful for this or that. I'm really going to
mhm.
kind of like use kind of child's mind and say, what am I grateful for? I'm grateful that I can move all of my fingers with dexterity, because that aids something else that I can do. Or
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my ability to walk, or whatever it is, like something very simple, very humbling. And how long do I do this for? Like 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes to, I mean, just go with it. And you know what? This can also be part of your meditation. So if you want, you could do a gratitude meditation. And just like you were recommending with, Tony Robbins, I love that meditation. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Okay,
So
great.
it can be a combination. It can, some of these things will can merge together. You could
Okay.
be in your movement practice and with your body, and then have an immense feeling of gratitude for your body. I often find, people just don't move their body, don't do these things, and then God is forbid, you get into a car accident and you break your leg, or you become, quadriplegic, and suddenly now you're in a wheelchair, and then you're wishing that you had
Hmm.
your legs, and then you're
Yeah.
wishing that you had treated your body with more respect, on a daily basis. So again, a lot of these things will tend to, it's like a matrix,
Gotcha.
where some of
Cool.
these can wind in together. um, so another tool that works so powerful for me, and again, I got this from Access Consciousness, and that is to be in the question.
Okay.
So be in the question, and this is, so choose one aspect of your life that you'd like to maybe focus on for the next 30 days. Now, it could be work related, it could be abundance, money related, it could be health related, it could be relationship related, maybe relationship with your partner, relationship with your a sibling, or a child, son, daughter. So pick one thing that you want to focus on for the next 30 days.
Okay.
So can you do that now, or will you need more time for that?
No, I could probably come up with something now. So let's see. Probably focus on, let's just say, can I just say work, or does it have to be more specific? Is it better to be more
You
specific?
definitely need it. So work is good. So the umbrella is work, but then under that, we definitely need to go dig a little deeper to
Hmm.
that. So is it more clients? Is it, do you want to find out exactly like your life path? Are you on the right track? So yeah, you definitely want to dig a little deeper. That's pretty broad to say
Okay,
just
let's
work
go.
related.
Let's go with new clients then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the question, so first of all, let's just talk a little bit about when you're in the question. A lot of times so if I were to ask you a question, Josh, the assumption would be that I would expect an answer from you, right?
Yep.
Like that's how we've
Mhm.
been trained, that if there's a question, then there's an answer. However, once you have an answer to the question, all learning stops. Once you come to a conclusion about something,
Mhm.
the door shuts, right? So to be in the question is so philosophical. It's just, people look at me and go, what on earth are you talking about? Right? So I'm encouraging you to be in the question, and then just be open to receiving information. And it may come instantly, it may come sprinkled in throughout the day as you're open to the spirituality and the universe constantly communicating with us through signs and symbols and omens, and something comes in the mail, or you see something as you're scrolling on social media, and then it's like, that's it, you know? So it goes like this. What would it take?
Mhm.
Dot, dot, dot. So that's the starting point.
Okay.
What would it take? And for example, for me to connect with and attract clients that are perfect for me.
Okay. Connect and attract clients that are perfect for me.
Again, and you can use your own wording.
Okay.
But so think about that. And then again, notice how the mind wants to give you an answer right in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So inviting you to just be in that space. So what would it take? What would it take? What's the thing? What's the thing that I'm not being or doing that if I did it would create so many clients I wouldn't even know what to do with them?
Okay.
And then just put it out there.
Got it. So basically, I'm reciting in my mind or out loud. I'm reciting this question, and then the goal is to stop the brain from trying to answer it.
Mm.
And then if
Yeah.
it tries to, I could just repeat the question again. So I'm basically just like, to be in the question means that we need to stop that brain's capability of feeling like it needs to answer. And the way, if I hear it starting to think something, or I'm thinking something, like, just say the question again, say the question again, until it just kind of like creates like a low hum in the mind. And then I can just, go on to the next thing, right? I'm not
Yeah,
trying to find an answer for it. I'm just
that's
trying
right. You
to
don't have to
put
you
it
do want to
in the space.
you do want to write it down,
Oh yeah.
and you do want to ask that question every day for 30
Mhm.
days.
Yeah, I
So
got that
you
part.
will
Yep.
find things will, and as things start to unpack around it, and then
Mhm.
things start to flow around it, then you create another question.
Right. I got you.
Right.
Yeah. And
Okay.
just keep it moving. Okay. That makes
Mhm.
sense. All right. So we're coming up. We got about 10 minutes left here to keep it inside an hour. So it'd be good to kind of wrap things up. Is there anything else? So that's basically 8 items here so far. Is there anything to like kind of like that ties everything together that I should do at the end, or is
Well,
that
there's
kind of
one
like?
more. So there's one more thing. I guess I didn't count the thing I do before when I wake up in the morning, which then that would bring us to 8. So this would be the 8th thing, and that is to feed your soul
Okay.
on a daily basis. Now,
Okay.
again, I always add this in. It doesn't have to be in the morning ritual, but this is just something that is so important, that brings so much change and transformation for people when they actually start to do it.
Mhm.
So what is that thing that when you do it, time stands still, your phone doesn't matter,
Mhm.
and you feel at peace, right? In that moment, what is that thing? And the thing I've found is that with so many of my clients, they don't even know what it is.
Sure.
They just don't
Sure.
even know. They're like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have that thing. Some people know right away, they say it. And then I ask, okay, great. How often are you doing that thing? And they might say
Mm.
once a week, once a month, once a year.
Mhm.
So what is that? So Josh, what is that thing for you? When you do it, you
I
feel
would
like you're in the
say,
flow.
yeah, I would say, it's hard to put into like a concise package, because I feel like it comes up in a lot of different ways. But teaching people, being around people in groups, to a lot of times it ends up being friends and family, where it's just kind of this fluid experience of people conversing and sharing and kind of being in each other's space. And then any chance I could get to like do some kind of like teaching about things that I know how to do. And it could be kids, it could be adults, really doesn't matter, but just like that aspect of being able to share my experience and knowledge and then watch people go through the acquisition process of that new skill and
Mm,
developing it, like that basically gets me into a space that, like you said, time kind of stands still. I'm not really
yeah.
worried about what time it is or how long, unless there's a, we have to leave or something like that. You have to be out of an area, then you kind of have to watch it. But other than that, there's a moment there that it just kind of like,
So
I'm
that,
in that presence. I'm in that
yeah,
presence very,
yeah, and
very
you're in the
directly.
flow and you're doing your work, you're doing your dharma, you're doing your life purpose, and that, so
Mhm.
that's one thing. And I'm glad, and thank you for clarifying, and I should have been more clear. So that is important. So that is that, that's your work, and
Mhm.
feeding your soul, and that is just so beautiful, right? So the other piece is, and I should have clarified that, something you do by yourself. So this is,
Mm.
so something that
Interesting.
you do all by, because a lot of times people will say that they're like, a lot of women will say, when I'm spending time with my kids. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, that's great. So that's heart-centered, stuff. This is, for me, it's spending time with horses, right? So it can be, an animal thing, because most people say when I spend time with my dog, or um, when you were a kid, sometimes I'll bring people back as we go back in like body talk therapy or in hypnotherapy, and we go back in time. Maybe it's that thing that you did that, and this may not be for you, but a lot of people out there watching, that thing that you did and that maybe you were told you weren't good at. So like singing or art. I know you're an artist, so you like to draw, and
Mhm.
it could just be when you're out in nature. I had one client who was, we talked about this, and she was like, oh, meditation was hard, and I said, well, what do you love to do? What do you love to do by yourself that gets you connected, brings you back to source, And she said,
Mhm.
oh, I love to take pictures. So she was an amateur photographer. And I said, well, can you commit to going out on a daily and taking photos for at least, 15 minutes or so? And she said, yeah, I can do that. And so she did. And so that was
Mm.
like literally feeding her soul, like her receiving channels were open, and she was able to, so many people, and especially women, tend to get so depleted because they're constantly giving, 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 giving. And
Yeah.
when you can find that thing, painting, art, dance, even like riding your bike or
Yeah,
skateboarding,
I was
going
going to
out.
say that
Yeah.
because it's like that's usually at this point in my life cycle, that's the least impact and easiest accessibility for me is going out and riding my bike. There's something about, um, in many different sports, they call it picking a line. So it's like you're going through the woods and you're having to go around trees, or you're going to down some kind of a skateboard element and you're picking a line in terms of, you're basically forecasting and foreseeing where you're going to go before you actually go there. And that aspect really keeps me in the present moment, because it's like my I'm moving through space and everything is happening like right here in this moment, and it gives me time to
Mm.
unwind and expand a little bit. So all right, so that's going to have to go on the list then, right?
Yeah, and choose it. That's the thing. I think the most important thing that people often go into is they say words like "I need to" or
Mm-hmm.
"I have to,"
Mm-hmm.
and notice the energy in those kinds of words. How about "I get to"? Today I get to. Today I get to go out on
Mm-hmm.
my skateboard, or I get to go out on my bike. Um, and choosing not doing something like, for example, for people who want to reduce their body fat, or they're not happy with their physical body because you know that you're eating a lot of foods that are not nutrient dense, or maybe you're a stress eater, or maybe you're um, use food to fill a void, right? So whatever
Yeah.
that thing is, and just being, you know, being being aware of it, and then choosing from a loving space of doing this, not like, oh, I have to get up in the morning, I have to do my morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy. Like you're not going to be successful that way. So
Hmm.
until you choose the thing, and because you know ultimately it's going to create a whole new world for you, you know, of lightness and breeziness and maybe joy and ease,
Hmm.
um, and go in it that way, as opposed to like, oh, I have to check this thing off my list from my morning routine and now it's done. So really, you know, how you approach it, you know, your mindset, as we call it, um, you know, will make all the difference in the world. So
Okay, great. All right. Well, got all this stuff, so I'm gonna probably type it up for myself and, have it as a study guide, so I know, keep myself on track at least for the first couple days until I get the routine. And then maybe what makes sense is for us to set something up and we can do a check-in, whatever, 20 days, 30 days from now, kind of see how things are going, if
yeah,
that makes sense.
that would be great. That would be
Okay.
so great. So once again, if anybody's interested in setting up a session with me to create your own personalized ritual, morning ritual, that's great. For those of you who are watching, I am offering a gift for the next 24 hours. If you go into, and we'll drop the link below, but I'm going to give you the code that you go in
Mhm.
for, so that you can get it for free, is my ebook.
Mhm.
And the code is morning ritual, all lowercase, morning ritual, all
Okay.
lowercase. And again, we'll drop the links below here on wherever you're watching it. If you happen to be watching it live, we'll get those links up there in a few moments. I'm also going to upload this to my YouTube channel. Again, I would highly recommend that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Victoria Haffer. And again, reach out if you're interested in coaching, healing, exploring how to create some change in your world so that you can live the magical life that you were meant to lead. So grateful to
Awesome.
be here. Thank you to Josh for making this happen. So
Yeah.
it's great.
All right, great. Well, I'm going to stop the stream and everybody gets to see this when they see it. So
Have a beautiful day, everyone.
peace and love.
Make it a magic one.